Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Francis Ngannou got a reality check tonight. And the good thing about it is he was still laughing and seemed to be in good spirits after getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua. He said he didn't even feel the shot. He just, he got hit and then he woke up and kind of was like, what happened? But I think the worst thing that happened to Francis Ngannou is probably the best thing that happened to him was leaving the UFC and coming over to boxing and getting his first fight with Tyson Fury. That was the best thing and the worst thing. Best thing because, one, he got paid $10 million. So it's like, okay, Dana White was going to offer him 5. He went and got 10, and he could box and do MMA. And he fought Tyson Fury, and a lot of people felt he won that fight. And then it did wonders for his confidence as far as him continuing as a boxer, especially fighting who many consider the number one pound for pound. I ain't going to say pound for pound because they're heavyweights, right? But they say the number one heavyweight boxer right now. But the downside to it, right, is that he beat Tyson Fury, who's seen as the best heavyweight fighter right now. But Tyson Fury wasn't at his best. And that gave Ngannou a kind of confidence to where he was super excited about going and fighting Anthony Joshua, maybe thinking Anthony Joshua is not as good as Tyson Fury. And if he was able to do what he did to Fury by dropping him, well, I'm going to do 10 times worse to Anthony Joshua. And Ngannou learned really quickly that styles make fights. And Anthony Joshua, when he has his mind right, he beats anybody. Simple. Now, what I will say is for Francis Ngannou, it's good he didn't get hurt. He didn't feel any pain. He didn't hyperextend that knee or anything like that. But for him going forward, I think the sky's the limit for him as long as he doesn't fight Usyk. But he has a career in boxing. He really does. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy. But when he got knocked out cold by Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou was still kind of out on his feet. He got knocked down and he got up, but he was concussed. He still, because the way he just walked to the middle of the ring, really wasn't defensively responsible. He was still out on his feet. And Joshua just like he was winding up a goddamn fastball and just hit him with that damn bing bing. And Ngannou just crashed to the ground. But as far as what's next with Ngannou, I think with this reality check, one, I personally think, and I've said this before, he needs to get the hell away from Dewey Cooper. That I saw him hitting the mitts in the back, and I saw I just saw the pad work, and I was like, this isn't it. I don't know how much time Ngannou spent with Mike Tyson. I don't know how much time he spent with other very intelligent trainers to help him out. But I think he needs to part ways with Dewey Cooper if he really wants to get in the ring with other elite heavyweights. Now, the word on the street is for Francis Ngannou, right? First, I was hearing Deontay Wilder against Dillian White. That's a great fight, in my opinion. But now they're saying that, Francis Ngannou, is going to return and he could be facing Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder wants that fight. Now, take that shit with a grain of salt because, there's no real reliable source out here on the internet. There's so many people, even the guys who are supposed to be credible, they post crap. But I'm just letting you know that's what the word is. But what I know for a fact is Ngannou did say he wanted to fight Deontay Wilder. So that may be the next fight for a guy like Ngannou. And I think that's a good fight for Deontay Wilder. I think it's a winnable fight for both. Because really, Deontay Wilder, I try to be fair to these guys, but it seemed like a lot of people say Deontay Wilder could never box. He could box. But to me, he's regressed as far as what boxing skills he did possess. I think he's taken a step backwards. And I'm not sure Malik Scott can help him get back to where he was. He's older now. He has a different trainer who has a different style, different philosophy. And Deontay Wilder could find himself in there with Ngannou if Wilder can't get the big right hand off on him, which I think he should because Ngannou's a stationary object. But if he can't, because he's not setting his feet, he's running in, circles and shit, I think Ngannou has a chance to get a win against Deontay Wilder. So he's 0-2, but then he'll at least be 1-2 in boxing matches, and he would have faced, 3 of the most feared heavyweight fighters right now. Now, I will say, I think if Francis Ngannou was a fighter guy like Andy Ruiz, I think Andy Ruiz beats the shit out of Francis Ngannou. But I just think Deontay Wilder's an easier fight than Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz is going to come in and let his hands go. And Andy Ruiz doesn't get tired down the stretch. Andy Ruiz, he comes in for the mash-up, crash-up, and he's great at fighting on the inside. He's used to fighting big, strong guys, and he has a solid chin. But that being said, Francis Ngannou got the reality check. But don't for a second think that, like I see people just slamming Francis Ngannou. And I'm like, man, that's why? Why are people out here, yeah, get the F out of here, go back to MMA. I'm like, what are y'all, like, what the hell's wrong with boxing fans? It's like, I'm not biased to anyone. But for Francis Ngannou, that dude's an inspiration, man. When I watch people react like that and get all emotional and want to attack and insult him, I'm like, why? Out of everyone in combat sports, this guy, that's the one y'all want to pick on, man? That's the one y'all want to kick when he's down? This man and his story, I'm not saying everybody don't have a story. Everybody has a struggle, but out of everybody's story we know in combat sports, y'all can kick him while he's down? There ain't no hope for humanity, man. This man, from where he was to where he's at now in life, how can y'all kick this man when he's down? The shit he went through over there in the UFC, people weren't treating him right, didn't want to pay him. He stood his ground and said, well, these are the things I want to do. You guys are billionaires over here. And Jesus Christ, I can't even get $1 million payday. These boxers are making 30, 40 million. You won't let me go fight these guys? So he bounces with a couple of years of being inactive, just to make sure he was doing what he felt was right and his moral compass was in the right way, and didn't allow people to strong arm and bully him into something he wasn't comfortable with. And then he came out here in his first 2 fights. This man has made 30 plus million. He was guaranteed 20 million tonight plus. So ain't no telling how much money he made over there in Saudi. But just in his first 2 boxing matches, although he's lost both, this man's made I would say $30 to $40 million. What are we doing? Slamming Francis Ngannou. Now, I do think, he is a lot of guys he can beat, but he got to be careful what his next move in boxing. I know he's got the big name. I'm not so sure so many MMA fans are going to be behind him in his next fight, because that's just how fans are. But I think Deontay Wilder's a good fight for him. I know Deontay Wilder has a big right hand, but I just don't think Deontay Wilder's just that same killer that he was. Luis Ortiz could be a good fight. Adam Kornacki, who just got knocked out, that may be a good fight. Helenius may be a good fight. There's a lot of heavyweights out there. Dillian White. If Dillian White and Wilder don't come off, fight Dillian White. Fight Derek Chisora. So he has options, but he definitely needs to stay away from someone who can do to him like what, Anthony Joshua did. And there aren't too many guys who are big, strong, with the reflexes, with the instincts and the boxing IQ of Anthony Joshua. So in that sense, he's kind of safe. But the bottom line is, I just don't understand that how people could treat the former UFC champion so horrible. Talking about get the F out here, go back to MMA. How about this, right? Francis Ngannou was correct. Without those gloves and all that shit and just a street fight, who you think wins? Okay, because nobody would get their shots off on him once Ngannou kicks their legs and all that shit. And then he got to worry about the leg kicks, and then he drops those Cameroonian beans on him, and then he grabs them. Then it's over. So let's not act like, as far as who really is the tough guy in the room, it's Francis Ngannou. But he got a reality check. That shit with him and Tyson Fury, That was probably the worst thing that happened to him, but the best thing. Got paid, got comfortable with boxing, but maybe felt that he'd be able to do something to Anthony Joshua that he wasn't able to do, and he learned the hard way. That being said, I expect to see Francis Ngannou back. We'll see how he looks in MMA. We'll see if his punch resistance has been affected now that he got the shit knocked out of him. We just have to wait and see. I don't know. Maybe his career is over now. You just don't know how these things affect a fighter, because he got knocked out cold, and that's not good, man. That being said, y'all keep cool. I'm still rooting for Francis Ngannou. His story is inspirational. Just don't see why people are talking so much trash about him. Like, that's crazy to me. But hey, it's boxing, it's combat sports. That's what fans do. They talk a little trash, right? But I think he'll bounce back. Just needs to be careful of who his next opponent is, because he can't be coming out here getting knocked out like that. Not good. Anyway, in the breeze.